The hardest thing to change is ourselves. We've been in protection mode our whole lives. It's scary to give to others when you don't see any immediate return. The nature of evil is that it perpetuates itself. If you try to give in a selfish world, you'll just get taken. Hey everyone, I really want to share my lunch. Look at that idiot. He's giving away free food. Let's get him. No good deed seems to go unpunished. Pretty soon we say, I'll feed myself first and I'll see what's left over. I'm willing to give as long as it doesn't really hurt and I'm still comfortable. Our world is so needy that instead of giving, we just give up. It takes faith to give, to trust that what you give is never really lost. This is the nature of a spiritual conversion, of rebirth. It's so hard to let go of what makes you feel comfortable. Your job, your possessions, people who aren't really your friends. But we have to try. You might say, this is really hard. Hey, I think you need this lunch more than I do. And then you feel something deeper. God is close to you. When someone tries to change the world fights back. Hey, look at that guy. He's making me look bad because I have so much. I have a lot to lose. Let's get him. Righteous people are historically maligned, abused, or executed. It takes enormous faith, strength, and courage to stand up to the evil world. But if two people work together, it's only half as hard. If you find 10, or 1,000, or 1,000,000, things really start to change. The more who work together, the easier it gets. You've heard of the tipping point. It's like pushing a boulder over a hill. At first, it's very difficult, but as you make the way up the hill, it gets easier and easier. Eventually, gravity becomes your friend and you get momentum. Finally, things move very quickly. Things can go viral. Instead of being weird or strange, you become cool. I'm talking about a revolution of love, of heart. Most people talk about revolution with guns, tanks, and things like that. We're talking about the revolution that starts within, because you can't really change anyone else. You can only change yourself and show an example. The change of the world begins by changing ourselves. This is not just a new idea. It's the basis of the best things in human culture. Every major religion talks about changing oneself and becoming a divine person, and then to make the kingdom of God. Philosophy also talks about the ideal person. What is a moral person? What is an ethical person? And if everyone were that way, wouldn't that be a utopia or an ideal society from a humanistic point of view? The classic ideal of education is not just to be a good computer scientist, to become a good person. Teachers are realizing that character education is essential for our collective health. And the idea of a good political system is that you become a good citizen. You do your civic duty, and if everyone does that, we'll have a good society. When we look at great religious leaders, we see a similar theme. Jesus told people to change their lives, to be born again, and to live unselfishly in faith. But at the same time, he preached the coming of God's kingdom. Buddha not only talked about enlightenment, he set an example of helping others and becoming the bodhisattva. For Muhammad, Islam means the peace that comes from the surrender of the self and the promise of paradise to come. Ironically, most of these great teachers were persecuted in their lifetimes. We can see that our original divine nature is pushing us forward, and that God, the origin, is pulling us upward.